Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Behind the Curtain. My name is Chelsea Sutton. This series is brought to you by Markel Insurance, and I'm honored to be sitting down with a big part of who makes it all happen. David Russo, you are the Director of Operations for the Arena and Equestrian Center here at the South Point Casino and Hotel. Big title, comes with a big role. Tell us a little bit about what you do here at the facility.
So basically, I oversee the day-to-day operation and running of the facility out here. So everything from the building setups, the tear down, the building maintenance, and facility upkeep. Myself and my team, my job is to give them a functional building to produce these events in. So we have a great team that works directly with the promoters on a lot of the day-to-day smaller details of the events, but I try and stay on the big picture stuff and make sure the building is ready for our team to work with the show producer and produce successful events here.
Successful events indeed. We are now at the 5th year of the Run for $1 Million. We're going to have multiple nights of a sold-out arena. When Amanda Brumley and Taylor Sheridan came to you guys with this idea 5 years ago, this was revolutionary in the reining industry. It
Absolutely.
was certainly unique for the horse show industry. What did you guys think when they first came to you with this idea? Did you see it coming to what we have now?
Admittedly, at the first conversation, we're a little skeptical. We weren't seeing the crowd getting into it the way that they have over the years. But we'd worked with Amanda for years on her high roller reining. She'd been one of the very first promoters to do shows when this building opened. So, I mean, we had faith in her ability to produce the event, and we jumped right into it with her. And the success is way more than any of us, I think, ever could have imagined.
I certainly give them a lot of credit for taking an event that was birthed out of the horse show industry and truly creating an event out of it. And by that, I mean, we have multiple disciplines that we'll show here: cutting, cow horse, reining, a bucking competition this year. Last year we had bullfighters, as well as the rest of it. I mean, we have a trade show, 80,000 square feet of trade show space with vendors. We've got a live music stage. There's a lot of elements that go into this event beyond just the actual competition. Can you highlight a little bit of the opportunities and maybe challenges, the unique, maybe difficult behind the curtain parts, if you will, of what goes into putting on an event like the Run for $1 Million?
Probably the biggest challenge is really easy. It's trying to find the balance between a quality horse show, quality reining, quality cutting, quality rein cow horse event, and the public show and the public spectacle. It's basically a three-ring circus now between all the different disciplines of equestrian events we've brought in, the vendor show, the concerts, and trying to find the balance between keeping the integrity of the horse show and keeping an entertainment product for the public and ultimately the TV show they're producing here. So that's probably the biggest challenge, is keeping those two things just on the tracks, because they don't always coincide with their objectives.
No, and for those that might not come from the horse show world or maybe haven't been exhibitors, really simple things that for us in an everyday horse show might be no big deal become a really big deal in an event like this. I remember a few years ago, if entries for a class become more than what you expect, and you've got a ticketed event that night that starts at X point, right, where you from an operations perspective are planning to open the doors at 6 o'clock, that class goes too long, it derails the whole thing.
Just keeping the schedule, again, is probably the hardest part of where the horse show meets the public spectacle. And horse shows traditionally don't always run on schedule, but when you're selling a ticket to a public event, or when you have a concert, or when you have to change the footing in the arena each day for different disciplines, that's where some of the challenges come, is keeping on schedule. But we have a great team, and we've gotten through those challenges, and I think the event continues to grow and get more successful each year.
I'd love to hear a little bit more on the team side of it, because it, I'm sure, takes a team effort. Highlight a few of those on your team that are a part of those elements, whether that's footing, whether that's working with the Run for $1 Million on making sure that live entertainment is good. There's also a food and beverage element. Talk to me about all that.
Yeah, so we have an entire team over in the arena that works with Brumley Management and Amanda and her team. We will have our first meeting for the 2025 Run for $1 Million probably in September of this year. So within weeks of this event ending, we will sit down with our entire team and figure out what we can do better, where we missed, what can be improved upon, and start planning the next year. And those roundtable meetings we have will have 30, 40 people in them from our team, from our food and beverage staff to our event coordinator, event manager, production from our side of the building, and then all of her staff. And we'll get together and and just really start planning the details. And we have some great people on our staff who keep us all organized and keep the schedule running and keep up with the ideas that are flying around. And then as the year goes on, we'll start honing those ideas down into action plans. And then, 50% of what was talked about in September will probably not happen. And then by the time we get to May and June, we've got a pretty tight plan and we're ready to execute.
If you would highlight what other events happen here beyond just an event like this or a horse show.
We do about 46 weeks a year of Western lifestyle, equestrian type of events, from bull ridings, reining, cutting. But then we do fill in the schedule with some college basketball. We do the largest antique motorcycle auction in the country. So we have a couple other events that we fill in some spots in the calendar that maybe have not been great windows to book equestrian events. And those, just every event comes with its challenges. Those are unique too. For the motorcycle auction, we actually take all the dirt out of this entire facility. Every arena we see going on right now, every practice space, every bit of dirt comes out. Floors get scrubbed, and then we do that for 2 weeks, and then it all goes back in and we get back to our equestrian season.
Well, and for those that compete, we know how important it is to make sure that footing is right when it gets put back in, but highlight a little bit of the logistical side of what that takes for making sure that not only footing goes back in correctly, but you take an event like this where we have multiple disciplines and we have cattle involved.
Yep.
What are you guys thinking about? What are you working on?
So, our operations team, Joe Baumgartner down there, that really kind of runs that part of our business, we're constantly having conversations, constantly looking, constantly watching. How are horses reacting to the ground? How are cattle reacting to the ground, and making adjustments? Does it need to be deeper? Does it need to be shallower? Does it need to be wetter, drier? We actually own several different types of footing. We have synthetic for jumping. We have our house dirt that we use for our rodeos and most of our events. We have cutting sand that we bring in. So for this, we'll actually, tomorrow, after the reining, we'll roll that entire arena, bring in some of our older cutting sand, then freshen up with some new stuff on top, bring our motor grader, level that all out, then work that ground, then build a cutting pen around that. We'll do the cutting and then tear that all back out and be ready for reining.
Within hours?
Within hours.
All of that happens within hours?
We will go from reining ground to cutting ground in about 4 hours tomorrow afternoon, and then about 3 hours flip it back and be ready for reining again.
If you would talk about the economic impact of this type of event to you guys, and of course that bleeds over into Las Vegas as a whole.
Yeah, so it's, from a South Point level, from the arena level, we're here to bring people to the property. And this type of event that sells the arena out, that puts 4,000 or 5,000 people in the seats, also brings 700-800 horses down in the stalls, is a great, that's a great business piece for us to bring in. It sells out the hotel rooms. When you fill the hotel rooms, that fills the restaurants, fills the casino. And that's basically what we're here to do. So this fits perfectly into our business plan and our mission, and what Mr. Gahn built this place to do, is to bring people into his casino and his restaurants and enjoy the property.
Tell me, if you would, the staff, and I'm pleased with the opportunity to be able to talk to someone from your team in the entertainment department, someone from the F&B department. So we're going to dive into those aspects a little bit later. But when you think about all of the people on your staff that make it happen, as well as many more, you guys are partnering obviously with Brumley Management, and there's a lot of people on their staff that you're collaborating with as well. What do you look for in team members that are really a good fit? Because you guys do such unique and sort of niche-y events that I'm sure it takes a unique skill set.
It does. A lot of the unique skill set specific to the equestrian business can be taught. You need the right personality. You need people who are going to be calm under pressure. It's long, and I think it says on every one of our job descriptions, long, irregular, and varying hours. Like, you have to be ready to work. We laugh sometimes. There's some 8-day work weeks around here. That's sometimes what it takes to get these events done. And then, then there's slower time, and you have to have people who can self-manage and work in those slower times, be productive as well. So you need people who are self-starters, self-motivated, work well under pressure. And then you can teach them the nitty-gritty of the business, but they have to have the right personality to fit into the team. And you got to have some fun. We want our team members there's got to be some fun interaction. Otherwise, when you're working that 8-day work week, it's not fun to be around people who are miserable. So you really need people that want to be here and want to be part of the process.
Especially because I'm sure there's many of those that have been here since the beginning. This grows it changes every single year in addition to growing. One year is not the same. You talked about the planning meetings that go into it. How do you as a leader keep your team motivated, keep them inspired, and keep them focused on the vision moving forward, especially when you are talking about long and irregular work hours?
As a leader, I'd say you gotta find what makes each person tick, each person work, and kind of work to that and play to that. Some areas it's really easy to set financial goals for. Our food and beverage department, our sponsorship, our vendor sales, our feed store downstairs. We do a business planning process and we look at business goals, and you can set financial goals for them. And that's kind of easy metrics. You get onto the operational side, it's a little harder to set those kind of goals to keep people motivated and measure the success. So you got to be a little more creative, but I mean, it's really just our whole team is very dedicated trying to do better every year. Like we're all trying to outdo ourselves repeatedly.
And this is the business side is fascinating to me, especially as I have a business background. It's in your title. The way that the casino operates, you guys and your team are operating on the arena and equestrian side separate from the rest of the casino, correct?
Correct. It's obviously all one company. Obviously, we all work for Mr. Gahn and Mr. Growney, and that's Mr. and Mrs. Gahn's vision for the equestrian center that we play into over here. But we do operate somewhat separately. We have a lot of support from a lot of areas over there, but we also are kind of doing our own thing. And the reality is what we do doesn't fit into the mold as well of a lot of what's going on over there. It's our piece of the business, our piece of the puzzle here is a little bit unique compared to a lot of what else is going on. And sometimes that presents challenges, but for the most part, there's a lot of support in the property between the different departments to get everything done and succeed with all these big events.
I give a ton of credit to your staff because from the front desk check-in all the way to being up here and ordering a pretzel, it is seamless even while there's so much going on. I want to use right now as a real case in point. There's a bowling tournament going on, and not a little one, a big bowling tournament. Tell us a little bit about that event and what, when you think about something like this, you've got multiple nights of a sold out show, as well as that at the casino level, at the whole business level. What are some of the things that you guys have to work together on?
The big one on these events is hotel rooms, and I'm not intimately involved in that, but there is a whole process of looking at room blocks and how many rooms go to these different events and what weekends need more business, what events can be brought in to fill that space. Logistically, as you mentioned, this bowling tournament, the USBC bowling events that go on, they go on for 4, 5, 6 months out of the year. And that bowling plaza is over the Prefert Pavilion, so we cohabitate that space. So we talk to the bowling director a lot about what may seem like simple things, but where are people going to park when these trucks show up and unload? What do you have coming in that day? What do you have? I need this space. Oh, I thought I had that space. Can we move over here? So there's a constant Rubik's cube of how to make everything fit, and it takes a lot of communication. And everybody has to get along and understand that we're all trying to accomplish the same thing and make sure that people have a good time when they come here.
You've been in the industry for a long time. You've been working at this property for over 13 years now. You've seen events come and go. You've seen this event from its inception. When you think about the next 5 to 10 years, nobody has the perfect crystal ball, but especially if you've seen this coming from skeptical, really Amanda, really Taylor, to now feeling the energy that happens in this arena, what do you think the next 5 to 10 years has opportunity for? And maybe what challenges do you think that as a venue and as an industry we need to be paying attention to?
For this event, I think the growth continues. I think the excitement continues. It does not seem to be waning. People are more and more excited. When we put tickets on sale, it sells out in minutes. The hotel rooms sell out in minutes when they go out on sale each year. So I think the excitement around this continues to grow. I think the event continues to get bigger and better over the next couple of years. And I think the industry as a whole is doing well and will continue to grow. I think one of the challenges going forward is just making sure that we can get enough new people and rookies and amateurs into all these different horse disciplines and competing and excited about it and continuing to grow the industry.
Well, I appreciate you sitting down with us. We're right in the middle of the event, so taking a few minutes out of your day counts for a lot. Again, this is David Russo. Hopefully you won't see him because that means that everything is going as it should be. But I appreciate you joining us here on Behind the Curtain for another episode brought to you by Markel Insurance.